Okay, hi, this is Paul Sackers, Good News Broadcast, speaking to Ed Wallace. Hi, Ed, how are you?
Fine. How are you this morning?
Okay, good. Vice President of Community Affairs at Sony Corporation here in the U.S. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's actually Sony Electronics that I'm Vice President of.
All righty, Sony Electronics Incorporated. All right. Well, the reason how this all evolved is that Sony was doing some nice outreach here in the Hamptons, I guess, here in the New York area, for an organization that is called Love Heals, and it was efforts for AIDS education and prevention, and they set up a beautiful display of some of their new equipment, the Sony Alpha Nex cameras, and you know, a company like yours historically has done many good things for the world, and including, of course, your equipment, but including your outreach. So I wanted to share some of the community outreach that a good, responsible company like Sony does, and Ed oversees that. And so why don't you give us some background of, you know, community area of Sony and what the kinds of things you do.
Sure. Philanthropy really started at Sony in the United States in 1972 when one of our founders, Akio Morita, really wanted to give back to the community where he made his money. And Sony was the first Japanese company to create a foundation in the United States. The spirit of the employees is they all love to give back, whether it be in their own communities on a larger scale. It's all about giving back. It's all about family here at Sony. And it's been that. I've been in the company for 20 years, and it's always been that way. They have a very strong sense of community. So there are many different things that go on around the United States and different types of things. We do things from a corporate standpoint. We do things from a departmental standpoint. We do things from an individual standpoint. We just truly believe in giving back to the community.
Well, we love that. That's good news personified and exemplified. And you're not a small company. I know what internationally, we're 150,000 people, right? In general, something like that.
Yeah, no. Sony is not your mom and pop shop. Let's put it that way.
A large corporation. Well, let's go way back to, I mean, the beginning days. These are the people that started Sony, quite entrepreneurial, quite visionary. You know, the tape recorder, and historically have been leaders. And I, having worked 38 years in the TV business and the networks, when you walked into to CBS, of which I think your chairman is a former CBS, Mr. Stringer, executive, and was there when I was there, and Sony was all around us. In the monitors and the recorders, on the tape, and so on and so forth. You guys really oversee that area and that industry.
Yeah, we truly are a leader in the both the professional and broadcast world, as well as the consumer electronics world. Many companies have copied what we've done over the years, and you know, we were their blueprint. And then they took what we did and tried to remaster it.
Literally remastered the master.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that you even started, if you go way back to history, I like history, the first tape was paper, and I thought they hand wrote the magnetic part on it, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not that good of a historian.
Well, it's interesting kinds of things. So now, evolutionarily wise, moving up to, and I see here on your website, which is at Sony.com, you have other areas. I like the environmental. Are you familiar with some of the kinds of outreach you do there as well?
We do. Environmental is very close to us. You have to remember, Sony is a manufacturing company, and as a manufacturing company, we have to keep a close eye on how we affect the environment, because every time you manufacture something, there is an element of waste. Not only from the manufacturing standpoint, but as people move to the new technology, from tube TVs to LCD TVs and LED TVs, what do you do with the old electronic waste? You just can't throw it out. So Sony has been on the forefront of understanding the impact to the environment. We've had programs for electronic waste now for 3 years at least, and if I'm not and mistaking. Our manufacturing sites have always been praised for their high level of environmental friendliness. And we just built a new 11-story corporate office for Sony Electronics here in San Diego that got a gold rating, for the environment. So that has always been on the forefront of what Sony does. Now, from a philanthropic standpoint, we've just started to donate to an organization called the Student Conservation Association.
Mm-hmm.
SCA takes college students and puts them in the environment to help clean it up. For example, our sponsorship, with our sponsorship dollars, they bring interns in, college students, and they work in the national parks and clear trails, things of that nature. So that's another way that we can give back to the environment indirectly.
Marvelous. Well, talking about these an organization like that you help sponsor, you have here guidelines for giving and grant applications. So how would do you have to be a nonprofit organization to apply for a grant, or how does that work?
Yes, you have to be a nonprofit, but more specifically, you have to be an IRS-recognized 501c3 organization.
Sure.
The IRS, as you know, is set up. They kind of do the initial vetting of organizations by making sure they're charitable, and these organizations have to do yearly filings with the IRS. So they've kind of done a pre-vetting for us.
Mm-hmm.
We know they're bona fide. Then after that, we look to see what organizations fit our philanthropic push. As you can see from looking at our website, education is a very, very high level of where we like to push our philanthropic dollars. Discussions years ago were our most precious resource that we sometimes forget are our kids. And if we don't help in developing them, well, woe is us in the future. So that's why we put a premium on education.
You're involved with the United Way, I see here as well?
Yes. The United Way actually has been involved with us for many years. Years ago, and I'm probably going to show my age by saying this, there was, they had community chests, quote unquote, where people could give to this community chest, and those dollars would be filtered throughout the community for good works.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we found here at Sony and through all of our locations around the United States, people will give, but the number one reason they don't give is because they've never been asked. Now, this isn't a hard solicitation by any means for our employees. What we do is we give them the ability to make a donation to the charity of their choice through the United Way, and people can do it through a payroll deduction or a flat one-time payout. So it's just an easy way that our employees can give back to their local communities.
Yes, I see matching gifts also program.
Yeah, matching gifts is a perk to employees. Again, it's kind of tight in how we do it, but basically educational institutions and hospitals and art things, especially the public broadcasting, museums, those type of things are what most of our, I'd say 90% of our matching dollars go to.
Good news. We love that. I'm a former Channel 13 public television guy, and I know you guys were there.
By the way, Yanni at the Acropolis is still my favorite.
You guys do a lot of good stuff. Minorities also play an issue here or a concern, and you want to do an outreach there?
We do. We don't. We always try to keep our eye on how do you level the playing field, but we don't necessarily go and say we're doing this because it is a minority-based organization. Mm-hmm. That is not a reason in and of itself to engage with an organization. You really need to see where the organization is functioning, how many people they're helping. So to say minority maybe isn't a correct statement, because we, you can talk about minority by skin color, but you can also talk about minority by economic standing. Mm-hmm. So it fits both worlds.
And let me ask you, since you've been involved with this area, I guess, for some years, right?
A few.
Over the years, because we're good news and we like to promote the fact of good news, and I'll have to say, unfortunately, sometimes there's those that say, big corporations, they're the ones that are hurting the society.
Yeah.
There's those kinds that are looking to blame for whatever the reason is. I have no idea, because corporations do so many good things. The individuals are real people. They're not all leading executives. They're worker bees. And so, how have you seen the corporate outreach for companies over the years? Are you optimistic that the corporate, let's say, even America, is learning to is doing the right thing in many cases?
And it's great you've asked me that question, because I just came off of being chairman of a national organization called the Association of Corporate Contributing Professionals.
Okay,
the acronym is ACCP. And that's all corporations the size of Sony and or larger, but we sit down and talk about social ills and how we can, as through our philanthropic offices, try to attack some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I think corporate America is committed to helping communities at large.
Mm-hmm.
We always have to remember, though, a corporation is formed not to give to a community. Quite frankly, a company is formed to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And when they make money, then they have a responsibility to help heal some of the ills that are going on in the world, especially in local communities.
Mm-hmm.
Every corporation has their niche as to what they want to go after. I mean, you have some great cause marketing things out there, like Tide did their Loads of Hope for areas that they lost water or electricity, and they would bring these trucks down there so people could do their laundry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody has the niche where they fall into, whether it be recovering from natural disasters, education, and then education can be broken down into the sciences, mathematics. You can break it down a million ways, but each one of these corporations has their own personality for philanthropic giving. I also think that in America, we are now more under a microscope than we've ever been as corporations. And if you do not help your fellow man, whatever it is, you are conspicuously absent from the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a good thing. Now, I'm not saying we're doing it to get sales. That's not why we do it. We do it because we have a responsibility to give back.
Oh, it's all good. I because I'm lucky enough to be sitting where I sit. In fact, I tell people I'm stressed out from so much good news in our business here. So many people are doing so many good things, and I guess the concern always has been is that sometimes the media doesn't make that the home page. It doesn't make it the prime time story, and it doesn't make it the front lead news article. But it's a good thing because it is happening. There's no doubt about it, and it's happening much more than the not such a the one bad apple situation in the big bushel. So it's all good. Sony's really out there. I thank you for doing that Love Heals event here, and that will enhance the opportunity to learn more about AIDS and to deal with AIDS, and by far some of the other things you're doing. So, Ed, is there anything else you'd like to add at this point? We look forward to doing some more with you.
Oh, I would love to. And just understand, how you say that the good works that companies do are not in the media. And I'm not talking about your media, but other media love the sense when they when something is bad or the word I'm trying to think is they
sensationalize.
Yes, sensationalize. They love that kind of stuff. Helping your fellow man is not front page news necessarily. And companies, what they do, there's one of these things that is like a no-no is you don't publicize what you're doing to help people. That because then people, and not only that, then you have to question, why am I doing it? Am I doing it to get the company's name out there ahead, or am I doing it for the right reason?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you will not see a lot of companies splash what they do in their communities all over the place. You may go to their website and see it, but you'll never see like a 10-page ad in USA Today or look at what we did today in New York Times. That's just like not done.
That's true.
It sends the wrong message.
That's true.
It truly does.
There's no doubt about it. And I think, I'll just add one other thought here too. Just because I have been very involved with the Asian community for 25 years, and I guess even previously had produced some shows. My first country was Japan, and that I made some living in the future, working in the future, some science shows over there. And the culture of the Japanese is very respectable towards each other, and I imagine that to a degree permeates in a company that initially, I know you're here in the States, but some of those values, I'm sure, just carry through.
Oh, without question. And actually, it's funny you should say that, because it's a convergence of the values that truly brings out what Sony likes to do. The Japanese values and the American values are slightly different, but when you meld the two together, it's harmony. It's just beautiful, and that's how we are able to do many things.
Perfecto. Domo arigato.
I wish I knew as much Japanese as I should, but I don't.
Ed, you're a good man here. Let me ask a question to ask you, and thank you very much for sharing a lot of, the real talk, I'm going to call it, about corporate giving and the importance of it, and how it fits into a company of great reputation like Sony Electronics. So, last question for you.
Paul, you understand I'm a New Yorker, and that's the only way to be.
Straight. I do. I can relate since I am as well. We're very direct here because it's too busy not to be.
Exactly.
Last question. What's good news for you?
Wow. What's good news for me? Well, a couple of good things. The company's making a resurgence. With the economic times, there were some tough times for all consumer electronic companies. And now Sony is, again, showing their face as a leader, especially in the 3D TV space. I am thrilled. I've been here 20 years with this company, and I can't say that I'm any prouder of any company I've ever worked for. I love it. I've been afforded, when the move from the corporate office went from New Jersey to San Diego, I guess I was felt enough by senior management at the time, because I was a worker bee at the time, to be invited to move out here and be part of this team, and that was a thrill for me. I hope I have many more years in Sony. I hit double nickels this year. My wife's looking at that 59.5 number, but I'm looking more at the 65 number. So, we'll have to see how that plays out.
As you're my kind of guy. You're definitely my kind of guy. And I want to know, this is recorded on Sony tape. No. All right, Ed, thank you very much for sharing. You're really open, and that's going to help others, and that's what openness does.
Next time I'm in New York, I will definitely reach out to you. I'd love to come visit you.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Take care. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.